This short presentation for parents is designed to help understand how the British school manages COVID cases and what you need to do to help us. The school protocols, which have been ratified by 2 Brazilian doctors, a paediatrician and an infectologist, take into account the need for strict protocols that will be effective in protecting us from in-school transmission. Please note these definitions have been simplified slightly for the sake of the presentation. They help us to determine which pathway of action to take. A confirmed case is when COVID-19 has been diagnosed. This may be as a diagnosis of symptoms with or without a PCR test. A close contact is somebody who has had close contact within 1 metre of an infected person for a sustained period of time, at least 15 minutes. A suspect case. This is a person with symptoms but may not have been diagnosed. We shall explain this later. A rejected case is when a medical practitioner has ruled out COVID-19 as a cause of illness. A suspect case will need to be rejected before a student can return to school. When dealing with a COVID positive case, that person will need to isolate for 10 days from the date of the first symptoms or the date of the PCR test, whichever is earliest. When asymptomatic, this will be from the date of the PCR test. Note, the COVID-19 positive case is considered infectious throughout this whole period. The diagram illustrates how we calculate the return date of a COVID positive student. Close contacts begin a 14-day quarantine period after the date of the last contact with an infected case. In a household where close contact cannot be avoided, this will be for the isolation period of the sick person, 10 days, plus the 14-day quarantine period. This is because the COVID positive case is considered infectious throughout those 10 days. The diagram illustrates how the quarantine period begins after the isolation period of the positive case. A suspect case occurs when symptoms indicate that COVID might be the cause of illness. They are based on identifying 1 or more main symptoms as outlined in the list, or at least 2 of the minor symptoms outlined. The school's approach in dealing with COVID is based on symptoms and not simply on testing. Where cases are suspected, it is important that the student does not come to school until COVID-19 has been rejected by a medical practitioner. This should be in writing and cannot just be a PCR test certificate. In all cases where a case is suspect, the student should not return to school until the school has agreed the return date. Parents, you can help us by doing the following. Consult your fridge magnet. Inform the school of all household cases. Not send your child to school if they have symptoms. Please seek medical advice. And if isolating due to COVID, do not send your child back to school until cleared to do so. Thank you for your cooperation in keeping our whole school community safe.